episode of our Season 2 series, we talked about the end of the Middle Ages. In the Middle Ages, Volume 2 book. Now let's say goodbye to this book. Alright. And let's say hello to the Age of Discovery Volume 3 book. This is our first episode of the Season 3 series. So hope you enjoyed the Season 3 series. And I also hope you will enjoy this video about the Ottoman Empire. Now let's begin. Why don't we start by looking at some notes? Okay, now that you saw my notes, let's get started on today's history unit called the New Islamic Empire. If you remember our episode 4 and 5 of our Season 2 series, you might know what the Islamic Empire is, the old Islamic Empire. Today we're going to talk about another Islamic empire called the New Islamic Empire and the Ottoman Empire. You might be familiar with that. And let's get in today's unit. Let's learn some history. About the Ottoman Empire, it was founded by a man called Osman I. Here, let me write the name. Osman the First. Dun, dun, dun. Osman the First was the first emperor and king of the Ottoman Empire. He founded it by uniting a lot of Turkish nomads together, creating one powerful state. Well, what is an Ottoman or Ottomans? Well, Ottomans are the people of the Ottoman Empire. They were originally Turkish nomads, which is labeled here Anatolia, and they have helped create some of the Ottomans helped create the whole Ottoman Empire, which is in green. Alright, so we get now what the Ottomans are and who made the Ottoman Empire, but how did it spread? Well, this is how it spread. First, that powerful state we just talked about conquered Anatolia, Turkey, modern-day Turkey. Then they crossed a body of water into Europe, the Balkan Peninsula, right here. They conquered a lot of states in the Balkan Peninsula during the reign of Osman I, except Constantinople, which is marked Istanbul in the map. We're gonna get into why it's called Istanbul later. Alright, as they conquered the Balkan Peninsula, after Osman I kind of got out of Sultan job, there was a new sultan called Sultan Mehmed II. Here, Sultan means king. Sultan Mehmed II. He was the next sultan in our list. Right, Sultan Mehmed II conquered Constantinople. Alright, after he conquered Constantinople, let's say he besieged Constantinople. After he besieged Constantinople, he changed the name to... No, I don't use it. He changed the name to Istanbul. Let me write it right here. Constantinople. He changed it to a name called Istanbul. He changed Constantinople's name into Istanbul, and he made Istanbul the new capital city of the Islamic Empire. Alright, so back to our Istanbul on the map, right here. Istanbul was the new capital city of the Ottomans. Alright, so now that we know that, let's get into our next part of our story. Sultan Mehmed II had a lot of cannons, enormous cannons. No, enormous isn't enough. Gigantic cannons. That's it. Right. So he had gigantic cannons, and he used those cannons to blow up the walls of Constantinople. If you remember our episode in Season 2 of Constantinople and the fall of the Roman Empire, you might still know about Constantinople and its big walls, large walls. Right after that was done, And here's how he done it. But first, let's talk about slave labor. Slaves and prisoners in the Ottoman Empire were treated differently than the other conquerors that we've seen in our series at the Hands-on History so far. Not like they didn't treat them like the Assyrians. They didn't even treat them like the Babylonians or the Persians also, or even Alexander the Great. Alright, they treated them like they were nobles, ordinary people, and even scholars. Some had powerful and successful jobs. Some of them even became advisors to the Sultan. Remember, Sultan means king. Alright, every year in Eastern Europe, the Sultan takes away Christian boys from their families. I don't want to take apart my family, alright? But it's true. Right, they take away the Christian boys from their families, and they make the Christian boys join their army. That army is called Janissaries. Where could I? Here it is. Janissaries. The Janissaries are the Sultan's personal army. Nobody else's, just theirs. And they protect their empire and country. Alright? The Janissaries are Christian boys, as I said earlier, and they were taken away from their families for a crash course for war and training. After their course is done, they are well trained and are brave. Woohoo! Alright, so they are brave and well trained. Now what? Well, they just go into the battlefields, and for almost 2 centuries, 200 years, they were invincible. Invincible means undefeatable. Imagine that! Woo! That reminds me of Odysseum. Made up word. Alright, so Janissaries are there, and now what? Oh yeah! After Sultan Mehmed II died, the Ottomans of the remaining Ottoman Empire decided to continue their conquest of Europe even further. I mean, this much. No, this much. Well, you get the point. So they started their conquest, and then during their time, there was a new sultan called Suleiman the Magnificent. He's my favorite sultan so far. Yeah. Suleiman the Magnificent. Suleiman the Magnificent. All right. That's it. That's the third emperor on our list. And he did some incredible stuff. He conquered all the way to Central Asia. He got stuck in Vienna. Let's talk about Vienna right now. Well, Vienna is the capital city of Austria, for starting. And where is Vienna, anyways? Well, it's right here. Look at the map, please. Alright, it's this dot right here. That's the capital city of Austria. Oh, yeah. Also, Vienna was besieged, like the besieged of Constantinople, Istanbul, which is now. It was besieged a lot of time, and it kind of got attacked. For the Ottomans, however, it was a failure. That was unlike the Constantinople besiege. The Constantinople is besieged, successful. The Ottomans' Vienna besiege, unsuccessful. Well, makes sense. And that stopped the Ottomans from spreading all the way to the rest of Europe, mostly the upper part of Central Europe and the Western Europe. They couldn't conquer France, Spain, England, Belgium, a lot of other European countries. So we talked about Suleiman the Magnificent. What else? Hey, no, tell us about it. Oh yeah. Before Suleiman the Magnificent died, he asked a slave, this is a famous slave called Memar Sinan. Memar Sinan. Let me write his name. What should I use? Here it is. Put this right up here. Memar Sinan. He's a slave, but he's a very hard-working slave. And he is also an architect. Suleiman the Magnificent ordered Memar Sinan to make a mosque. If you remember our previous episodes, you know what a mosque is. A mosque, no, this is too similar. A mosque is a temple. It was first used by Muhammad. A mosque. He ordered Memar Sinan to make a mosque, and that mosque was called the Suleymaniye Mosque. Let me write it right here. Yeah. Suleymaniye Mosque. This is the name of the mosque. It kind of sounds similar. Well, it's similar because after Suleiman the Magnificent died, his body and tomb was put in the Suleymaniye Mosque. And then he stayed there for hundreds and hundreds of years until we discovered it now, in the present day. So we talked about the Suleymaniye Mosque. We talked about Memar Sinan, Osman I, Sultan Mehmed II, Suleiman the Magnificent. We talked about the Janissaries, Constantinople changing to Istanbul. What else? Computer, tell us. Oh, all right. So now we're basically finished with our Ottoman Empire, and now we're gonna move into our next unit, which we're gonna talk about in our next episode. Why don't we have a quick peek? All right. So during the conquest and conquering of the Balkan Peninsula, Greek scholars fled to Italy, the boot country. Remember that. With their books, studying books, textbooks. They spread their ideas and culture into there, which started a new period of time, which literally means rebirth. You might know it. It's called the Renaissance. Let's use green this time. Next time we're gonna talk about the Renaissance. Next time. See you then. Shaman out. Finished quiz. Oh, you. Today we're going to talk about our writing. And as usual, the questions are sometimes the same. What did you learn about the Ottoman Empire? Oh, not this. Okay. And 2, what makes one culture different from another culture? Put the answers in the comments below. I'm always happy to read them. So, let's talk about them. Shahan is in. Alright, what did you learn about the Ottoman Empire? Well, I learned that the Ottoman Empire was made by a man called, Osman I. And then there were a lot of several sultans, such as Sultan Mehmed II and Suleiman the Magnificent. Suleiman the Magnificent was my favorite sultan. The sultans had a personal army called the Janissaries. They conquered Constantinople and changed its name to Istanbul. Oh, and also there's a slave architect, a famous slave architect, Memar Sinan, made the Suleymaniye Mosque, which we can still see today, and it holds the dead body of Suleiman the Magnificent. Yay! I just hope I can see it one time. Oh, and also the Ottoman Empire's conquest to the Europe started a new period, which is my favorite period of time, the Renaissance. I'm so anxious to get to our next episode. Alright, back to our next question. Alright, what makes one culture different from another culture? Well, I think that makes one culture from different another culture. There are several reasons, but these are the top 5. Number 1, their religions their religions, what they believe are different. Like one person says, "Hey, pork is not a royal meat. Don't eat it." And then one person says, "Pork is royal meat," and it's well, it's just an example. Number 2. The cultures worship different gods, sometimes the same gods, but mostly different. So some, like Christians, worship Jesus and other gods, while the Egyptians worship Osiris, Isis, and a lot of other Egyptian gods. All right, there's number 3 is. Number 3 is that the places where the cultures appear are different, such as some cultures might be in Mesopotamia, others might be in Egypt, the Egyptian cultures. The other culture might be in the USA, the United States. Some might be in Korea, or even China, and well, it's basically around the world, all around the world. Number four is that people also make new beliefs with those cultures, and also cultures can help make new cultures. Well, and lastly, number 5, drum roll please. Cultures can be different from many ways, but this one is my best one of them all. Alright, cultures, as we've said far, cultures have different gods, they are in different places, they have different beliefs, but what about their religious books? Some of them, we even talked some about their religious books, like the Quran, the Christian Bible, and a lot of other books that we should be talking about in these series. The religious book, okay, the gods, okay, where it's occurred, okay. What do you think? Give me your top five reasons why one culture is different from another in the comment below, or just email me. Alright, so let's get into our extra history. Today's extra history is about the Justinian Roman Empire. We've talked about it in another extra history, but today we're just gonna mainly focus on the teams, the blue team and the green team. Let's get started. Welcome to Extra History. Alright, so the teams are a chariot racing event, and it also is a royal day because that's when the emperor, in this case Justinian, arrived. So let me draw the blue and the green teams. And this is also going to be about how the Roman Emperor Justinian and his future empress Theodora will meet. So this is the blue team. And here's the green team. I just hope you can see the greens. Right, so these are the main teams of our teams. They're the only teams, and you can just say that the teams are a sports club, meaning place, and a charity all rolled up into one. They are rivals, and sometimes both kill each other. Ew. Also, they have a lot of chariot races, and they do sometimes get along. Right, so they get a racetrack. It's something like a car racetrack, and they just go around the places of the racetrack to get to the end of the finishing race. And if you win the race, you just win a prize. Well, at least. Oh, and also at the very place, in probably this part, is where the emperor stands. People hold this right here. And this is the emperor. The emperor stands right here and watches the race, going with the blues and the greens. I'll just mark the blues, how it goes around right here, and how the greens kind of go around. I'm a big fan of the greens, so I'm gonna let the greens win. But since Justinian was a blue team, I'm gonna let them win. And I also found out the secret to getting faster is to go with the shortest corner race. And so I guess the the greens will lose. Well, just in the honor of Justinian, I'm his favorite fan. So the greens win. So the greens win by crossing the finish line 1 round. Okay, so they win, and also Justinian highly supports the blues. So draw a blue flag right here. Blue flag. Alright, and this is where Justinian and Theodora meet. One day, Justinian, before he was an emperor, he was in the crowd and he met a young woman called Theodora. Here's the problem when Justinian's uncle was ruling. Nobody can marry actresses. And Theodora was an actress. After the wife of Justinian's uncle died, that law was banished from the law of books. And then Justinian and Theodora became husband and wife. I guess it's happy for them. They lived together, but they still can't marry before the end of the uncle's reign. And soon after, a few months later, Justinian's uncle fell ill and died too. And that left Justinian to go around and do chariot races and stuff, and do some emperor stuff. And then he became emperor, and Theodora became empress. He was the very last emperor to dream of uniting Rome back together. He had big dreams. Whoa. And he was the last one to dream all those dreams. Alright, as I said earlier, the blues and the greens were rivals. But one day, when Justinian ordered 8 demons to be killed, the people who were watching those demons asked the emperor and told the emperor, "New emperor!" And also, I'm not just saying that only the blues were saying to the emperor. I mean, the blues and the greens were saying them together. They were always rivals, but now they are together. That's whopping. Alright, today's extra history is done. But also, if you already knew this, I'll cover another topic in a next video. So, see you next time. Shanhan out. This video was made by me. It was sponsored by me. The talking was by me, of course. The script was written by me. Hanchin Chun, the channel was always made by me. The videos were always recorded by me. Also, if you like my channel, please don't think of not subscribing. Please subscribe, hit the like button, and also hit the bell button to all so you don't miss any of my videos. And if you are doing that, you are supporting my channel. Also, I'm trying to get to 40 subscribers. I haven't seen my channel since after I make my videos. But I will say that if I do ask a question, please put them in the comments below or just email me at 20jor@naver.com. Oh, and the hands-on history series will be recorded in this solo place, in this hotel called Step In. Well. Oh, and also, I will put the extra history links of the Justinian Emperor in the video description below. Also, today's question is, what did Justinian support on his demon teams? Is it blue or is it green? Well, here's a clue.